Recently, news broke out that Concord, the huge failure from Sony, cost around $400 million to make, and that means it's one giant loss of money. The information came from a net journalist from IGN who had insider knowledge, and although I'm not very fond of trusting anything that comes from games journalists, we can at least entertain the matter to have a deeper discussion on why video games are so expensive nowadays. Hey guys, I'm Sats and the gaming industry has been on fire lately, huh? I mean like Concord, Serious Light Squad, Skull and Bones, Forspoken and Saints Row. You know what they all have in common? They're all broken, bad, broke or dead. And all of them are supposedly AAA from the titans of the industry and had a massive flop as well. Wanna hear something funny? If you take all of these titles and combine their supposed cost, it amounts to $1 billion total lost. At this point we might as well call it a laundering scheme, right? There are many factors to why they failed and deserve a good series to dissect them all, so I'll probably doing that in the future, but for now let's focus on how we got here. Back in the genesis of the industry, creating a video game was considered a huge risk for anyone as the chance of it failing and ruining your life was pretty high. Therefore, only people who were really passionate about it continued moving forward. Of course, it was a money appeal, but the focus was finishing the product with a very good quality, according to the limitations of the time of course, and having the word that corporations hate the most. It's called fun. Just like that, instant classics that cost way less and had a lot of limitations were born. Silent Hill 2, GTA San Andreas, Metal Gear and many others. We still have classics like that nowadays and more to come very soon. For example, Black Myth Wukong and Elden Ring that set a high bar for action-based and Souls games. Unfortunately, history tends to repeat itself, so inevitably, the same greed that ruined movies and music came to the gaming industry in the form of abusive microtransactions, full-price garbage, and paywalls in every corner. Remember when arcade machines ate all of our money by making the game extremely difficult on purpose? Yes, I see you, Battletoads. Or when a horse armor changed everything? It was simpler times, if only we knew what would eventually happen. All of this brings us to today. A lot of executives inside big corps are just aiming for the money and don't care about the process of making a product. It's kind of like a pig with a rod on its back and there's money in front of it, you know? That's why live service games are so prioritized, because they're supposedly bringing a lot of money for a long time and they don't have to worry much about future projects. The thing is though, the market is full of competition and a mediocre or bad game won't be enough to bring new players for a long time. Therefore, they lose a lot of money betting on a very tight gamble. Sony, for example, is destroying itself as the main reason the console even has that much popularity is because of exclusive, narrative-driven, and single-player games like The Last of Us or God of War. They're losing their identity just for a little quick buck. Also, another thing that was mentioned by the journalists was a culture of toxic positivity inside the development of Concord. It means everybody was not allowed to criticize or get negative feedback, otherwise they would be treated as the bad guy, you know? That's probably the basic fundamental of game design and they couldn't even get that straight. I'm sure the higher-ups weren't very intimidated by the team who could not accept criticism, but they sure did bet on them to be a household name, as the project was described inside as the future of PlayStation. If that wasn't enough, they injected $200 million to get third-party studios to finish the broken game, and they even got one episode of Concord on a future miniseries. Honestly, it must be pretty embarrassing to be one of those that greenlit this, but there should be no pity or consolation, as the reason all of this even happened is simple. A clear lack of respect for the customer, thinking we must be dumb enough to fall for it, and also greed. looking at us as if we were walking wallets instead of clients. That's why the PS5 Pro is so expensive as well. Not only to regain what they lost, but because they think people will be dumb enough to buy it. And they're right. Some people will buy even with its high price. It's the same deal as the PS3 era, possibly giving Xbox a head start. Now, you must be wondering, where did all that $400 million go to? I'm sure marketing was a factor, and it usually is the heaviest price, but this time, I'm certain it was the game itself, the development. If you look at the 1 hour of credits of Concord, you can see a lot of people worked on it, even those who aren't Firewalk Studio. That can only mean one thing, and it's called development hell. A thing that Duke Nukem Forever knows very well. And to think that they spent 8 years, a huge budget, and they didn't even achieve a successful or even relatively good game, I guess money and time can solve everything, I don't know. On a side note, I'm pretty sure most of the budget went into the character design, right? Well, Concord is dead, and it's on a public park for everybody to see and say, I was there, Pepper Hands. Hopefully Sony will learn from this and not repeat the same mistake, right? Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is a side note after I finished all of the editing and recording and stuff like that. So I'm going to drop my opinions on whatever is necessary, and yes, my voice is very low because it's nighttime and I do want to sleep very soon. So these are like my final notes towards the video. I feel like the PS5 Pro is going to be another colossal failure from Sony in like a marketplace type of view, because not only you have competitors like Nintendo and Xbox and also PC if you may consider it, but you're also losing your own clientele, which are usually very focused on exclusive narrative and single player games like the ones I cited before. So I'd say that, you know, this year has been quite bad for Sony. Maybe they're gonna get up next year. I don't really know. All I know is that all of this obsession with live service games started when Fortnite and other games started to grow up in popularity. Not only that, but Jim Ryan also incentivized for studios and stuff like that to make more games that are live service. For example, Naughty Dog, which were trying to make, I think it was called, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like The Last of Us Factions, maybe? Not really sure. But yeah, not only that, but I think that Concord was a huge twist. I did not expect a surprise card like that this year. To be honest, nobody really expected Concord. They did a terrible job with the marketing, and that's probably one of the major factors that made the game feel so bad, and not only that, but be forgotten so quickly, because the game was announced, I think, last year, perhaps, I'm not really sure, but it only had like 2 trailers and then the game was out. And by the way, the game was out on my birthday, the 23rd of August. It released on my birthday, and I did hear about it, but I didn't play, and I wasn't really excited, so I just went into like playing other games like Yakuza and Persona, perhaps. So yeah, I think that's all. I think, except for maybe Fair Games, I think it's called, right? Fair Games is also going to be another failure if they don't know what they're doing. And honestly, it's quite impressive if you think about it, because for example, Concord Firewalk Studio had a lot of people that came from Bungie and other good studios that made a lot of success with high quality live services, like Destiny, for example. But what is it called? Fair Games, which has some people from Motive Studios, which made the Dead Space game, which unfortunately died, as in the Dead Space remake, not the, like 10 years ago Dead Space. And unfortunately it died because of low sales, and I wish there was a Dead Space 2 remake as well. It's unfortunate. EA sucks. But I was saying Ubisoft employees as well in there, so consider it with a grain of salt. I don't think it's going to be great, but mark my words right here, I don't think it's going to be worse than what is it called? Concord. Holy, my mind is going blank just because I'm very sleepy right now. So I'm going to end this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please leave a like and subscribe because this took a lot of work. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.